Jungkook regrets HYBE's decision. Taehyung's presence further deteriorates. What's really happening? A single sentence uttered by Jungkook during his recent live broadcast changed everything. "I just wanted everything to stay intact, but not everything is mine to choose." The statement came without further explanation, no explicit context, yet the effect instantly shocked the global fan community. Many realized this was more than just a personal reflection of an idol. It was a statement full of meaning. Is this regret over a decision he couldn't prevent? Is it a sign that Taehyung, who is increasingly sidelined from BTS's main narrative, is a victim of a system larger than the artists themselves? The issue of Taehyung's alienation is no longer just fringe rumor. His absence from joint promotions, stage interactions, and the lack of spotlight in major agendas is now being seriously questioned. Even more troubling, recent documentation of his activities shows that his presence is increasingly obscured and, in some cases, entirely erased from official visual narratives. This has triggered sharp speculation. Is his presence being systematically suppressed? And if so, who is responsible for it all? Jungkook, long known as the most emotionally connected member to Taehyung, appears caught in a paradox. He remains active, present in major activities, yet his expressions and demeanor have become a sharp public focus. On multiple occasions, he appears to hold back emotions, speaks in an unusual tone, and chooses silence when questions about certain members, especially Taehyung, arise in public spaces. Is this regret for being unable to stop the decision that separated them? Or is he under immense pressure between personal loyalty and the system that raised him? There's speculation that major decisions about each member's visibility and position are not entirely in the hands of the artists. In a hierarchical and commercially structured entertainment industry, the artist's voice is often just a formality. Many now suspect that the strategic steps taken to separate Taehyung's narrative from the spotlight were not personal decisions, but results of corporate calculation. Interestingly, Jungkook is showing a change in behavior that seems to reflect unresolved internal conflict. He is not just silent, but begins to express messages through unusual actions, from choosing songs full of parting meanings to becoming defensive when asked about Taehyung by fans. The big question arises: has Jungkook witnessed firsthand how internal decisions led to Taehyung's marginalization, yet was unable to do much to stop it? And if so, why is he only now showing implied regret? Many believe that growing public pressure has forced him to finally crack the door open, letting fans see what he has been hiding. But why is he the only one giving signals? Where do the other members stand? Why has no one openly addressed this dynamic? In an industry climate controlled by complex structures and corporate agendas, the courage to speak can be a huge risk. But as Jungkook begins to display subtle gestures seen as expressions of disapproval, the public perceives them as emotional cries that can no longer be held back. Reactions from fans vary. Some express anger toward a system seen as treating Taehyung unfairly. Others question the involvement of fellow members in such decisions. And many have begun to lose trust in the management that once crafted the image of harmonious unity. Taehyung, once portrayed as the most artistic and emotional figure, now appears to be fading into a singular narrative that leaves no room for his complexity. He is present, but not discussed. Still creating, but no longer the focus of the group's conversations. Is this merely a miscalculated management strategy, or a deliberately planned form of isolation? More surprisingly, some fans have found a pattern suggesting that every time Taehyung shows closeness to Jungkook publicly, the managerial response ends in suppressing his participation in upcoming activities. This raises major questions about internal relationship sensitivity within the group and the possibility of tensions being deliberately muted to preserve a certain corporate narrative. Yet amidst all the speculation, one thing becomes clear. Jungkook is no longer entirely comfortable. In his body language, his word choices, and his decision to avoid directly answering fan questions, there are signs of internal conflict he cannot openly express. But can we, as spectators and supporters, truly understand that pressure? Or are we too quick to conclude what's really happening? This article doesn't seek to judge, but to invite the public to open their eyes to a reality more complex than it appears on the surface. Not all that looks harmonious reflects the truth. Not everything promoted is the result of the artist's personal choices. In many cases, the structures behind the scenes play a far bigger role in determining who is seen and who is hidden. And now, as Jungkook shows undeniable signs of regret, the public must ask, is this the time to start questioning the system? Will we keep blaming individuals, or are we ready to dig deeper and expose the power architecture that truly directs these idols' careers? Taehyung's silence and Jungkook's body language are not merely personal expressions. They are fragments of a larger story that requires critical reading from all sides. If we only rely on emotional interpretations without analyzing the broader structural context, then we're just passive consumers of a narrative crafted to manipulate public response. The public must begin to question the grand narrative that has shaped their perception all this time. Is Taehyung truly being systematically pushed aside? Is Jungkook caught in inner conflict for failing to protect his closest friend? Or is this merely a representation of the industry's dynamic cycle that constantly needs conflict as fuel for existence? In this increasingly uncertain situation, public voice becomes the only power that can disrupt the status quo. But that power must be coupled with understanding, not just anger. It must come with analysis, not just speculation. And most importantly, it must be rooted in fact, not illusion. Where is Jungkook headed after this? Will he take firmer steps to show disapproval of the suppressive system? Or will he sink back into a narrative written by forces beyond his control? And more importantly, will Taehyung reclaim his rightful space as part of the entity he once built with his own hands and heart? These questions have no answers yet. But one thing is certain, the public is no longer blind. And once awareness awakens, any system built on injustice will eventually meet resistance that can't easily be silenced. But behind the storm of demands, one big question echoes again. Does all this truly reflect reality? Or is it a narrative construction carefully designed to steer public opinion? Amid the flood of information, especially from platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, many narratives are built purely on sensationalism. So it's vital for all of us not to consume every piece of information too hastily. The public, especially BTS fans known as Army, now stands at a crossroads between fact and fiction. When thousands cry out, "Bring Taehyung back," do we truly understand the context behind his absence from HYBE's internal dynamics? Or are we caught in an emotional wave shaped by clips, silent photos, and digital assumptions? If this truly is a current reality, why hasn't there been any corrective action from the concerned parties that the public can tangibly feel? We must also ask, was Jungkook's shocking act truly a spontaneous expression of internal misunderstanding? Or has this move been part of a larger communication strategy from the start? Is this the hurt reaction of an artist witnessing injustice to his friend, or a quiet performance carefully choreographed by powers behind South Korea's entertainment industry? Jungkook's public appearance, without explicitly naming Taehyung yet displaying unusual emotion, has been interpreted by some fans as a subtle act of solidarity. But is that really true? Are such interpretations enough to consider it proof of a hidden conflict between artist and management? Doesn't this open a massive space for speculation, perhaps even misleading? Undeniably, Army's reaction to Taehyung's absence from various recent group agendas has become more intense, even resistant. Some voice opinions through social media comments. Others bring protest banners to concerts and fan meetings. But we need to ask, does the whole movement stem from a complete understanding, or just from viral narratives circulating online? Demands like justice for Taehyung and bring Taehyung back are emotionally stirring, but have we verified that injustice is indeed happening? Has Taehyung truly been forcibly separated from BTS's main projects? Or is this merely coincidence magnified by social media algorithms and unverified opinions? Too many questions remain unanswered. For instance, if internal conflict exists, why is there no clear sign of reconciliation or recovery? Why does speculation grow while official voices stay silent or vanish entirely from public narratives? Is this silence a strategy or proof that there's nothing to clarify because there's no actual problem? On the flip side, if public suspicion is true, the questions become more complex. Who controls these decisions? Is HYBE an institution acting unilaterally against Taehyung? If so, what's the motive? Is it about business direction, personal conflict, or some unknown external pressure? Furthermore, Jungkook's decision to not fully participate in certain activities, along with his emotional signals on stage, is seen by some as silent protest against unjust policies. But again, without direct confirmation, all these interpretations remain speculation. That's why it's important to ask, have we created a fictional reality fueled by collective desire for justice, while the truth might be far more complex and far from black and white? In the digital age, narratives can form in seconds, and perceptions can shift through one viral post. In this environment, the ability to think critically and skeptically becomes essential. We can't rely on emotion alone as our only navigation tool to assess reality. A balance between empathy and rational analysis is needed. The question is, are we, as a global ARMY community, ready to explore this complexity with clarity? It must be emphasized that most circulating information comes from independently produced social media content. That means not everything out there is highly accurate or properly verified. So, an equally important question arises. Are we becoming victims of algorithms shaping collective emotion? Are we speaking truth, or reinforcing a narrative that may not be valid? In closing, we invite you to reflect on one essential thing. Are you truly sure that what you are fighting for today is pure truth? Or is it a collective illusion shaped by limited information, wrapped in emotional desire for justice without a solid foundation? We're not asking you to stop fighting for your idol, but we urge you to do so with a clear head, precision, and caution in distinguishing fact from digital illusion. Korea's entertainment world has grown into an incredibly complex industry, filled with interests, agendas, and dynamics that are not always understandable from the surface alone. Keep loving, keep caring. But don't let that love be blinded by narratives that may not be true. Don't let that care fuel conflict that actually harms the very people you're trying to protect. Truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it whispers behind the noise. And it is our task to hear it with open minds and clear hearts.